Welcome Golden Wolves to the Especial Alvernia Campus Show, your go-to source for everything happening right here at Alvernia University. I'm Ben Houghton, and joining me is my co-host Hector Malave.
Hola Lobos Dorados, yo soy Hector Malave y hoy estaré cubriendo las noticias semanales en español.
Breaking news, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. Was it the CIA, the Russians? I guess we'll never know. I mean, we've only been asking these questions for 60 frickin' years. President Trump fulfilled his campaign promise Tuesday by releasing almost all of the previously classified JFK files to the public. It's a whopping 69,000 pages. The documents revealed a whole lot of nothing. To be fair, if I'd been forced to read 69,000 pages, I'd be itching for a bullet to the temple too.
Alemania hizo historia cuando 800-900 perros salchichas se reunieron para romper el récord Guinness de la mayor desfile. El fundador dijo que los perros salchichas unen a todos por igual, especialmente el amor por estas adorables salchichas con patas.
Once known as the world's ugliest animal, the blobfish has made a stunning resurgence, earning almost 1,300 votes to win Fish of the Year from the Mountain to Sea Conservation Trust in New Zealand. The blobfish, which has a squishy, mushy appearance, appears normal in its deep sea environment, but deforms when it is brought to the surface. A local radio ad helped propel it to victory. Looks like being ugly pays off. Maybe I'll have to enter into a beauty contest myself.
Un político suizo terminó pagando caro con un regalo inocente. Una multa de 6.500 francos, equivalente a $7.390, por comprar pistolas de aguas rosas en línea. El político encargó las pistolas por Temu para sus ahijadas, pero las autoridades dijeron que violaban la ley de armas a pesar de ser rosas. En verdad, este fue un regalo que salió más caro que uno de verdad.
This week, the police got an unusual call about something wandering the streets, causing trouble. They are prepared to see a drunken man causing havoc, like usual on St. Patrick's Day, but were caught off guard when the troublemakers were a mini horse roaming the streets, free. The police couldn't help but laugh as they rounded up the pony and went back on patrol for the night.
Un partido de fútbol en Alemania tuvo que ser cancelado cuando el hijo pequeño de uno de los jugadores entró corriendo al campo y sin previo aviso mordió al árbitro en sus partes privadas. El árbitro Stefan Keller explicó: estaba revisando las identificaciones cuando el niño se acercó y de repente me mordió en el testículo. El dolor fue tan intenso que no pudo seguir arbitrando.
Thank you for joining me and Hector today on this week's news. Now on to sports with Ian.
Welcome back, folks, to the Golden Wolf Rundown, where I'm going to give you the scoop on all the week's sports. Starting off today, softball versus your sinus, right? That's going to happen right here in Alvernia, 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. We jump to March 21st, baseball versus Hood. That's going to be right here as well, 3:30 p.m. start. And Alvernia Men's Club Ice Hockey is going to nationals. The boys are taking Jacksonville by storm. And that game will be happening against Liberty University. It's going to be the start of a 3-day matinee. And, yeah, we're going to go on to March 22nd now. Women's and men's track and field are going to both be going out to Westchester. Women's equestrian is going to have their regional finals. And then baseball at Hood, that's a doubleheader. That's going to be at 12 p.m. and a 3 p.m. And then softball versus Hood right after that. That's a 1 p.m. and a 3 p.m. as well. Men's lacrosse at Newman. That's going to be a 1 p.m. start. And something of note, a quote, there are some standout players on this team this year. I mean, let's start with Jimmy Sparacchio. 24 goals as a freshman, and they played 5 games so far, I believe. Crazy. Next up, Charles Oberman, 17 goals and has 5 assists. I mean, 22 points is pretty impressive. And then lastly, we can't forget to mention Jack Keenan, the senior. Congratulations, man. Right? What a career. He's got 11 goals and 17 assists so far this season. And then a big shout out to Jack Mancha, who has played in 4 games and held 3 shutouts and a 40-minute 6 shutout time frame. Lastly, we got women's lacrosse at Gwynedd that day. It's at 1 p.m. And to cap it off, men's club ice hockey will be playing St. John's Fisher. We move on to the 23rd. Softball is going to be at Dickinson. That's a 1 p.m. and a 3 p.m. doubleheader. Then we have men's club ice hockey on their 3rd day. They're playing Rowan University. March 25th we jump to. Softball is going to be at Lebanon Valley. That's a doubleheader, 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. games, followed by baseball at Rampo. That's going to be a 3 p.m. start. And then women's lacrosse versus Susquehanna at 6 p.m. In some more special news, Alvernia Men's Club Ice Hockey is going to consecutive nationals now. Congratulations to them. They just won the DVCHC championship. I had the opportunity to hold the trophy with them. That was really fun. Coach Joe Borelli is running a great team here, and they've had a lot of amazing milestones this year. Congratulations to junior Logan Buki for passing the 100-point mark. He is the first and fastest player in Alvernia Club Ice Hockey history to do so, and the first in our hockey history. And then Chris Claycomb did it not long after he passed the 100-point career mark. He's a senior. Good luck in Jacksonville, guys, and bring home the cup. And lastly, Matthew Lackman. He is the first Alvernia wrestler to win NCAA national champion. Congratulations. All right. Well, that's all for the Golden Wolf Rundown. Now, I'm going to call Matt Toney and a very special guest today for Off the Bench.
Off the bench. Get in.
First, welcome back, Matt, Tony, and Kyle.
Yeah, special guest Kyle. Appreciate it, guys. I'm glad to be here. I really wanted to argue against Ian. I've heard some terrible takes, terrible things said on the internet. I had to stand some ground and the viewer needs to come up to the desk and argue with you.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you here. So today we're going to be talking about some March Madness, but before we get into March Madness, we have some breaking news about an hour ago. The Boston Celtics just sold for $6.1 billion, setting a North American sports franchise record, and they were sold to William Chisholm. He's a California private equity director. So Celtics get a new owner, and it was for a very expensive price, but we'll see how that works out for the Celtics. So now we'll dive into March Madness stuff, right? So I'm going to start from Ian, and I'll work my way over here. So, Ian, just get into it. What's your big upset of the first round you see happening?
Well, you know, I think I have North Carolina over Ole Miss. That's probably my best take on that one.
That's kind of, I have North Carolina over Ole Miss, so it's not a bad take. I thought you had some more controversial ones, man. You got more lined up, or?
It's funny. I think this time I'm actually might not have anything good.
I got March Madness, the one time you could.
The one time I could choose something bad. You're right. Akron over Arizona. How about that one?
Sure.
So
really?
When Ian's making good takes, he's making bad takes as well. So we'll move over to Kyle. Who's your big upset?
Big upset. I have GCU going far. They're kind of my Cinderella team. Shout out to the virtual school students, But Grand Canyon University had a great run last year, and I think they're going to repeat that, get Sweet 16 range. St. Mary's I have in the Elite Eight. That's a little surprising, I would think.
They're not even making it out of the first round for me.
Yeah, I mean, beg to differ. But St. Mary's against Duke, they'll probably fall there. I have Purdue and Michigan both in my Final Four. And I think it's a little controversial, but I think Michigan's got a good system with the pick and roll. And Purdue, they have one of the best three-point shooters on the whole of NCAA with Braden Smith. He's a great three-point shooter. But I have St. John's and Duke in my final, which I think that's a pretty good final prediction.
Tony, who's your big upset?
My big upset has to be Robert Morris. I mean, if we can't get a local team, gotta support Pittsburgh team. I mean, that's only one that I really think is the really big upset besides Akron that I have. I mean, Alabama, I haven't been completely sold with them. And I mean, Robert Morris, a complete 180 from what they were last year. I mean, they were terrible last year, and they turn around and they make a tournament. I mean, I feel like if there's any game or team that they can maybe take a game from, it probably would be this Alabama team. So.
Yeah, actually, Robert Morris is my big upset as well. I just feel like Alabama, they really kind of started falling off towards the end of the season. We weren't seeing what they were doing early on. And, you always get these big upsets in March Madness, 14 and 15 seed. Even now, 2 16 seeds have won games. So I just really feel like, tomorrow's Robert Morris's day. Yeah. Tomorrow's their day, and they're going to beat Alabama.
Whatever helps you sleep at night.
They're going to beat it. And
you sound really confident about that one.
I'm actually so confident that I tell people to put $100 on Robert Morris right now. That's how confident I am.
Betting odds are currently changing.
So, we heard from Kyle a little bit about his Cinderella team. Ian, who's your Cinderella team?
If I'm going back and I'm kind of looking at it, right, I haven't had a very good chance. I made my bracket like 5 seconds ago. Crazy stuff.
He comes prepared, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
He comes very prepared. They choose the one sport that I watch the least. Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. I have Vanderbilt going to the Elite Eight as well.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't know if you want to go off Matt being like the one that's correct. He's got Louisville in the Final Four. We're going to find out very soon who's going to win that game, as that game is currently going on right now with Creighton and Louisville going at it.
Well, I guess I'll talk about my Cinderella team then.
Oh yeah, spoiler.
I do have Louisville going to the Final Four. They haven't beaten really any good teams all year.
They've been terrible.
Happened, but this is when legends are made, and Louisville is going to win. Currently, they're losing 11-7, so things could go bad. But I have full faith in Louisville. They're beating Creighton, they're beating Auburn, they're beating Michigan, and they're beating Michigan State.
Well, I want what you're having.
Those are some confident picks. Should I bet on them?
You should. You should bet on all my picks because I'm never wrong. Here we go. Tony, who's your Cinderella team?
Yeah, this might be the craziest one of all. I have Xavier, and they just won like last night. But I mean, 13-point comeback. Against Texas. SEC fall off. That might have to be talked about because I have Bama getting upset. So if that all happens, Xavier, they have their guys, of course, they have their stars, but when you have role players step up, like Marcus Foster last night had 20 points as a role player, really. He doesn't average a lot. He only averages 8 points. When you have him step up and he can score, if you have guys like that step up, in tournament games, that's where these legends that are made, like not the main guys, but the guys that just step up and do the role when it's needed. I think that Xavier can maybe do something.
All right, and to just end it off here, we're running out of time. Who do you have winning the national championship?
St. John's. Rick Pitino, he's got this team turned around. Their first conference title in 40 years outright, and they haven't been in the tournament for a little bit now. So I think they're going to make some noise. Very good defensive team. If they can just keep the scores within reach, I really think that they have a chance to win it all. So.
Yeah, so my pick to be very different from you, Tony, I also have St. John's winning. I have St. John's beating Duke in the final, like you mentioned with Rick Pitino, coming over from Iona, and he's a very defensive, set coach, and he's turned that St. John's program around to where it is now after like 30, 40 years of struggling, able to bring it back to the promised land of March Madness, and I think they're going to go all the way with it, and I think they will take down the powerhouse Duke in the final, take down that flag.
Promised Land's
crazy. Yeah, to be even different than Tony and Kyle, I also have St. John's beating Duke. Their defense is just the top in the nation. Rick Pitino, the Godfather. You never bet against someone with the nickname the Godfather. St. John's all the way. Ian, just finish it off for us.
I did not choose St. John's. I chose Iowa State. I had to be the one different person here.
All right, fair enough.
Doesn't mean it's good, but
it means it's very good.
It's not terrible.
Nah, it could be better.
So, thank you all for listening to our amazing March Madness picks. Be sure to bet on my picks. Probably don't listen to Ian. Kyle, he's just a special guest. He's a fraud, and Tony's here. So, thank you all for tuning in, and tune in next week.
That's all for sports, and now I move on to A Moment With.
Hello, my name is Hector Malave, and today we're having a moment with RJ Embrick, who is a catcher, and also he made part of the 2024 Commonwealth Championship winning team here at Alvernia University. Now, let's move with RJ.
Calling a successful game, I give all credit to Coach Danny, our pitching coach. He works with me via a little earbud to allow me to call pitches with the pitcher. Reading a hitter's swing is one of my jobs as a catcher. If he's late, if he's early, if it looks like he's going to be taking, So the obvious goal for this team moving forward is go get another championship. Everybody hates a winner. In Alvernia, we're winners here. You gotta be hard-headed, right? You gotta be stubborn. You gotta wanna get hit by the baseball. It's not fun, but your desire to get hit by the baseball and get beat up for 9 innings every game, roughly 3 hours, and still make important decisions on this field. Yeah, I got beat up. I got hit by a couple of baseballs. I blocked my butt off back there. But when that scoreboard is over and the bottom of the 9th shows and that we won, that's all that matters. I'm going to med school next after my years here at Alvernia. So that obviously motivates me to have a schedule balancing school, athletics, sleep, family time, like social gatherings. So it is no easy task, I will say that, but it's definitely doable.
And now to campus events. On April 3rd, there will be a day trip to see the Mean Girls, the musical, at the Santander Performing Arts Center.
And March 21st, Alvernia Theater will be having a Jogo Crazy event. So come to Jogo Crazy from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. El Teatro de Alvernia estará recaudando fondos en Jogo Crazy. So ve mañana, marzo 21, desde las 4 p.m. hasta las 7 p.m.
On April 5th, there will be a free animal walk. Visit our website to get more information on that.
En marzo 29, Alvernia estará teniendo un viaje gratuito a Urban Air en Lancaster. In March 29, Alvernia will be having a free trip to Urban Air on Lancaster.
Go check out Marvel Ranch's new renovations, courtesy of Gordon Ramsay.
In April 4th, Alvernia will be having a free trip to Reading Fighting Fields. En marzo 4, Alvernia estará teniendo un evento gratuito al Juego de los Fighting Fields en Reading.
Thank you for tuning in on this episode of Alvernia Campus Show. It was very especial. Subscribe to our YouTube and follow our social medias here.